Good afternoon. It's not morning, well, depending where you are. But here in Poland, we have already 2:40 to 30 p.m. So it's not that breakfast time for me, but we have again one guest. And it's breakfast time for that guest because why? He is located in New Jersey, so it's around 8:30, 8:40 a.m. in his place. So it's breakfast time for him. And well, today as well, I don't have a specific recipe, but I have a guest that I always impressed with all the creativity that he has, and that's why I decided to have a talk with him. So let me just invite him here. I see that he's already, and let's go to connect with Julian. Hello, Julian. Can you hear me? Oh, it's connecting now.
Gerardo, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás, Julián? ¿Todo bien?
Todo bien, gracias. Do you hear me well?
Perfecto. Yes, I can hear you very well. And very glad to see you. I think it's 8:30, right? Where you're living?
Almost 8:40 or 8:40, yeah.
8:40? Okay, and you're ready for some breakfast?
Yes, I am. Yeah, this is my cafe latte.
I also have my tea in this case, but yeah, actually I miss a lot to drink a good cup of coffee, and I hope to do it soon. Julian, thank you very much for joining today on this episode of Breakfast Time. Is the third episode that we are having a guest. I'm really glad to see you around today, Julian. And well, actually, in order to not make an introduction directly, I would like to invite you to make an introduction. I asked to all the guests, who is Julian Hernandez? And I think maybe you remember for this elevator speech, how we can... But, yeah. And so, Julian, tell us, who is Julian Hernandez?
Julian Hernandez is the baby. I have to start with the baby. It's slightly different than the elevator speech. The baby, because I'm the seventh of 7 children. Yes. And no matter how old I get, I will always be the baby. So that's what, at this point in my life, I'm proud of saying that. But I live in New Jersey. I've been a Toastmaster for more than 20 years. Yeah, I joined in the spring of 1998. My first club was Talk of the Towers. You know where the club met? At the Twin Towers.
Whoa, okay.
In the World Trade Center. You remember the Twin Towers, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. I used to work in the area. I had worked in the 94th floor before I joined Toastmasters. But by the time I joined Toastmasters in 1998, I wasn't working in the World Trade Center anymore, but in the World Financial Center, the other side of the expressway, by the water. And that's when I heard about Toastmasters. I looked at the clubs in my area and said, what? There's one on the 72nd floor of the #1 tower. That was my first club. And they're still around. They're still around, but of course they meet somewhere in Midtown right now, in Midtown Manhattan. So yeah, Toastmaster for more than 20 years. I'm originally from Cuba, and I've been living in the United States now for, I used to say more than half of my life, but I think it's got to be like most of my life by now.
Okay, no, perfect, Julian. And yes, thank you very much for sharing that. And actually, but quite another question is because yeah, I know that you're coming from Cuba. When you arrived to US, you arrived directly to New Jersey. You have lived always in New York, New Jersey.
Always in New Jersey, yes. Always in the vicinity, in Union City, in North Bergen, West New York, which is all in the same county. And I started working in New York City since I was 23 years old. Now we work from home because of the pandemic, and now I have a job in New Jersey too, and I work in New Jersey. The different assignments that I get but I've always been. I'm a Jersey boy, and I'm also a city boy. City is in New York City. Yes, I got used to commuting to New York City. I'm not very far. Rush hour, maybe half an hour, but if it's not rush hour, it's 15 minutes by bus. And once I'm in Manhattan, I take subways anywhere. So yes, always. I came to the United States when I was 8 years old, the first time. I lived here as a child for 3 years. I went back to Cuba, lived in Cuba for 10 years. My teenage years, my coming of age, as it is called, and even my first attempt at college, one semester in La Universidad de La Habana. And that's why I think Spanish remained my dominant language. So I speak both, right? And I try to keep both. I'm fluent in both, and that's why I do Toastmasters in both, right? In both languages. That's why I teach both languages, you know, at a beginner's level, sometimes intermediate level, whatever assignments I get. And yes, and of course, I would like to continue thinking in Spanish, my first language, and it's a different dimension, right?
Yeah. But any third language in mind coming soon?
I tried as a teenager in Cuba. I tried to learn French. I did it only for one semester. I was in high school, so it was too much. It was I was working half a day, going to high school the other half of the day, and then I was going to language school in the evening. So I couldn't keep up with that schedule. But it went very well. Then years later in New York, I enrolled for 2 semesters in the French Alliance, but I also couldn't keep it up in my schedule. I couldn't fit it in my budget either. So now I want to see. I have this app called Babbel, I think.
Babbel. Okay. Yeah. Yes, the app. Yeah, of course.
I already registered to pick up French, but I'm not as disciplined as you. I have to see all these things that we have to do from home now, and try to stay on schedule. It's hard.
But maybe one word like bonjour, comment ça va, maybe, okay, yes.
Yeah. Bonjour, especially. in America, we use it all the time.
Yeah, no.
Bonjour more than bonjour.
Great note. Yes, French is a very nice language. I also like it, and I speak it. Like now, I don't practice it at all, but I was living in France for some 6 months, and I get used to learn it because it's a Latin language. For Latin languages speakers, you can easily get them, and it's very nice language. I like it a lot.
I know. Once when I was a teenager in Cuba, I thought about learning German, but I stuck to the Romance languages. And there's also Italian and Portuguese I would like to learn, not because, maybe I don't want to be fluent, only because of the music. I always say the Italian music and Brazilian music, I want to be able to sing along those songs, at least, yeah, you know?
I how it's called, one song, Brazilian song, I think is Copacabana, La Chica de Copacabana.
Ipanema, the girl from Ipanema.
Yes, the girl from Ipanema. Yes, the Ipanema girl. Yes, it's really nice song. And yeah, I invite you to time at least, not to sing it a bit and so on.
They had me. I made a fool of myself. They had me singing in Union City Toastmasters last December. We had the holiday meeting. It so happens that I did a table topic started with music, with singing a tune, right? So I said, "Oh, Julia, that's it. You're gonna sing at the talent show." I can't sing, people. We have a lot of Brazilian members at Union City Toastmasters that they live in the area in New Jersey and Hoboken, Union City, and then they said to sing the girl from Ipanema. So I sang the Frank Sinatra version. And there's a little bit of Portuguese there too, but I made a fool of myself. They put me at the end. Oh my God, I had all this pressure. I don't work well under pressure sometimes, because when they expect you to perform up here, I usually get so nervous that I don't fulfill I don't meet the challenge. I have to, I'm not competitive by nature, so that's why I like to compete from time to time to get out of my comfort zone and improve other skills. I know that sometimes we have latent inside us, right?
In Portuguese, I used to have a boss from Brazil, so he was speaking a lot of Portuguese, and I get used to. So at this moment, I could say that I can understand it. However, I cannot speak it for sure. But I very like it, the accent and so on. It's really nice language. And well, actually, Julian, yes, I was checking and caught my attention. The baby, Forever Young, My Family, Friends Forever, Espanol, ESL, Citizenship Instructor, Toastmaster, Workshop Presenter, Meditation. So I could see that
in my profile on Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, I cover too much. I know that usually people that have a profile on Instagram, they stick to one area, right? They stick to just one field, and I think I'm covering too much, and I'm not that active. I'm not posting every day. It's hard to keep up, but yeah, well, now you know where the baby's coming from, and then the baby and that family will go together. So I always send or prepare. Not I was gonna say do graphics in Instagram. I do postcards for birthdays of the family, so I post them there. If they're on Instagram, they'll see it. If not, I'll send it to them individually, electronically somehow. So that's another component of the family. Well, ESL, I teach ESL. I got certified as an ESL instructor more than 10 years ago. That's my third career, I think, and that's what I'm doing right now. So that got me a foot inside La Guardia Community College in Queens, New York, where I teach in the ESL lab. ESL, English as a second language. And now we're working from home. We're doing virtual classes. And I like that very much. Espanol is my first language. What else do I have? Workshop presenter, because that's the area where I want to explore more. That's why we have webinars in the Hero Speakers Bureau. So I'd like to encourage everybody. You have participated in webinars. I really enjoyed putting advanced speeches together when I started working on the advanced manuals in Toastmasters, and I've done educational workshops at the district in New York and the district in New Jersey, Toastmasters districts. And I enjoyed that very much. I would like to do more of that. And as I said in the elevator pitch the other day, is I'd like to specialize in the area of helping people with career transitions like me. Like I've been through, and it took me like 8 years to figure out where I was going to go, and then also organizations, because based on the experience of Toastmasters, that's an area that is still in the early stages. I would like to do more of that. If you look at my Twitter profile, it's more focused on that, on the workshop presenter component, but I'm not very active there either. And let's see how that goes. I would like to explore more of that than continue pursuing a master in English or Spanish, so to keep growing in teaching as a professor. To keep growing as a professor, probably I can do a lot on my own as a workshop presenter, doing things that I love to teach, to inspire, to motivate. But what else did I put in there? ESL Spanish workshop presenter.
Meditation.
I tried for many years to get into meditation. I was searching for something because I knew I could benefit from that, and it didn't work until I read an article in the New York Times, and they talked about this program called Headspace, and I got the app, and then they gave me the 10 first sessions free. That's how they get you. And then I really enjoyed those 10 sessions, so I signed up. I registered. So it's been a year and a half. So perhaps you notice that when I used to do the meditations, I used to post stories based on that meditation of the day. Maybe you remember seeing some of those stories.
Yeah, no, indeed.
I'm not doing the stories anymore because it takes time, but I definitely continue at least 10 minutes just about every day, almost every day. I rarely skip a day of 10 minutes of meditation. It has benefited me so much. And I had started in the fall of 2019, but when the pandemic began in 2020, when the confinement began, the lockdown, that was the most beneficial thing for me. You know, dealing with what we were dealing with, the fact that I was already into some kind of meditation habit.
And Julian, yes, we were talking also about the Toastmaster. Can you explain us more about what is Toastmaster, how the people can know more better about it?
Toastmasters is an international organization. It's the leading organization, actually. What was the tagline before? Making effective communication a worldwide reality. They used to say that. Now their motto is where leaders are made, because good communicators are good leaders and vice versa. But the program focused on leadership skills, communication skills. And there are more, you know the statistics better than me, I'm not up to date, but there are more than 10,000, more than 11,000 clubs in more than 100 countries all over the world. The organization was incorporated in 1924. So pretty soon it's going to be 100 years old. In 2024, the organization will be 100 years old, and it will be the 100th, right, anniversary. And we're going to have to celebrate big, right?
Yeah. No.
And like myself, if you go to Toastmasters.org, you'll be surprised as there's probably a club near you that maybe you don't even know about. Like myself, when I first learned of Toastmasters at a workshop at the company I used to work for, and then I called them, and they sent me printouts of the clubs. The internet was around, but it wasn't that popular yet. So I called them, and they sent me printouts of the clubs in my area. I said, what? There were like 5 clubs in my area I never heard of. So the one that fit my schedule was Thursday at lunchtime at the World Trade Center, the 72nd floor, like I said, Talk of the Towers. So if you, I suggest you go to Toastmasters.org and look for a club near you. However, these days, most clubs are meeting virtually. So even if the club is on the other side of the world, you can still attend meetings if you contact them and they send you the invitation to register on Zoom. Most clubs are using Zoom. I know some clubs are using WebEx, right? You know of WebEx. Yeah. And I don't know about any other platform.
I mean, at the end, I'm also Toastmaster, but I wanted to ask you about it. In this case, Toastmaster is helping people also in that part to learn those soft skills, speaking skill, public speaking, effective communication, leadership skills, and so on. From my side, I would say that personally, it changed my life in several ways. So for sure, I recommend it. From your side, what kind of, why would you recommend Toastmaster?
Yeah, you said communication skills, public speaking skills, also interpersonal communications, because we work on the skills of listening, thinking, and speaking, and that you can apply whether you're speaking in public, whether you're speaking one-to-one, or whether you're working on a project on your own, because it's about critical thinking as well, right? It helps you improve in so many areas. But of course, the focus is in communications in general and leadership skills. Toastmasters is like a lab. We prepare for our roles, we come to the meeting, we deliver what we prepared for, and we receive feedback. So we do that constantly. And why I have been in Toastmasters all this time? Because those skills that we improve in Toastmasters in the club, we transfer them to whatever it is that we do in our professional lives and personal lives. So we see the impact. Like you said, Toastmaster has transformed your life because we feel the changes, we experience the changes. Other people tell us that we are more confident in doing what we do in our professional lives and personal lives. So that's why it's so important. I call it like a gym. You know, Toastmaster said it's a lab. You know, like you go to a science lab, you prepare for the experiment, you do the experiment in the lab, and the professor gives you feedback. The Toastmasters is like a support group. We help each other. One day you do a speech, I do the evaluation. The following week, I do the speech, and you give me an evaluation. So we help each other. Of course, at the beginning, the more experienced members will help the ones that joined recently, but it still is a support environment. And yes, I was going to say that I compare like a gym. So when do you stop going to the gym? When do you say, oh, I'm fit already, I don't have to work out anymore? You know, so to me, Toastmasters has become like a lifestyle. It's not so much that I wanted to improve certain confidence. I was able to get a job. I did very good in the interview thanks to Toastmasters. That's it. I don't need Toastmasters anymore. To me, Toastmasters has become part of my lifestyle because I continue receiving benefits from the organization, from the fellow Toastmasters, from the clubs that I'm a member of, including the leadership club and yourself, Gerardo, that I'm a member right now.
Thank you very much for sharing that, and yes, as well, Toastmaster is now actually becoming very popular among also the companies. They would like that the employees develop those soft skills because at the end there is a lot of connection, a lot of presentations via internet and so on. So it's very now needed in corporate world as well. I could say, and I can see it. And well, Julian, in this case also, I remember you were mentioning something about also American history. You are also teaching that part?
Oh, yes. I have a hashtag about that in Instagram too. Yes, it's Citizenship Classes, which includes civics history. Yes. So what they do, they hire ESL instructors usually to teach citizenship classes more than history teachers, because most of the applicants that want to become a citizen, an American citizen in the United States, are learning the language, right?
Yeah.
Some of them have been living here for 30 years and now all of a sudden they want to become citizens. And they're people in that situation usually are very fluent in English. They don't have a problem. But most of the time, the applicants are still learning English, some more than others. But they have to know English in order to pass the interview, right? So the test consists of listening, all the four skills of a language: speaking, listening, writing, and reading. But then there's a big chunk of civics history.
Oh,
yes, they have to learn civics history through 100 questions. That is changing a little bit now. That changed a little bit under the previous administration. It's changing back a little bit now, so it's a little bit confusing right now what's going on. But basically, it's 100 questions, some easier than others. You know, who was the first president?
Okay.
And others, they go a little bit more about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. You know, it goes through the civic history. It goes in chronological order from who lived here before the Europeans arrived up to the current times. Basically, politics and government.
And for example, in this case, if I ask you, without going into the details, just to from your perspective, what would be the three main pillars of American history, if you can just name them, without going into the details, just from your perspective?
The three main pillars. Wow, that's deep. I would say the Declaration of Independence has to be one of them. Yeah. That's an important document. I would say the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence was adopted July 4th, 1776, right? And then the Constitution was written 11 years later in Philadelphia in 1778. So those two for sure, I would say, are the two of the three pillars. The third one has to be something related to striving to make the union a more perfect union. But I can't find a word for that. Because even though the Constitution has been around for this long, right? And it still is the same Constitution, and there have been changes to the Constitution, just 27 amendments, but they don't add amendments like overnight. These things take a while. So that's the process of democracy, which some were saying last year that it was in danger. So that, I don't know how to put that one in one word.
Okay.
Whatever that is in one or two words, I think has to be the third one. Yeah.
Okay. No, thank you very much for sharing. Something that actually admire from your side, Julian, because for me, and you are very inspiring in terms of the part of the creativity. You are inspiring that part, and you are, how can I say, ocurrente, imagination, empathy, so that at the end, if we sum up, in this case, imagination, creativity, and some ways innovation, at the end, it becomes this part that is value creation for the people. And it's something that I can see in you. It's something that, again, you are, without maybe noticing, but in the end, we are taking from your side that inspiration. And I really appreciate for that, Julian. And I remember sometimes you surprise. I like always that part, the surprise element, I call it. And when we have opportunity to see one of your speeches, always you have that spark, that surprise element that at the end is making the thing. And obviously, if you are empathetic, so it's really nice, and I appreciate it for that, Julian. Again, I remember this captain hat.
Thank you so much. Oh my God, you're too kind. Well, it's who we are, right? It's our personality, who we are. We put into what we do. But I always tell people that it's all Toastmasters training. Well, Toastmasters always keeps me thinking. Another reason why I've stayed in Toastmasters all this time, because thanks to Toastmasters, I was able to find my focus as what I wanted to do in life. Thanks to Toastmasters, I was able to deal with those 8 or 10 years of career transitions that I went through, because I stayed attending meetings, because it kept me thinking positive. It kept me dealing with a network of friends while I was going through difficult times and good times, right? All through along. Like some people, I always say, some people tell me that they had a difficult situation in their lives. They don't go to Toastmasters anymore, because Toastmasters for them is maybe something different. But Toastmasters became part of my life from the young age. So anyway, it's who we are, it's our personality, but it's got to be Toastmasters training. I remember the first manual. It was called Competent Communication Manual. Before it was called it was called the Basic Manual. It wasn't even called the what was it called in the traditional program?
Competent
Communication Manual, right? Yeah, and then they gave us the award Competent Communicator,
and then the leader one as well.
Leadership. But even before that, which the manual did not change much, I remember reading ahead. I really got into it. I remember after I did my icebreaker, because it's the whole idea of Toastmasters. You're supposed to receive an evaluation. You're supposed to receive feedback from your fellow Toastmasters that give you the motivation to come back to the next meeting and continue delivering and do even better, right? Based on the feedback that you get. So I remember reading ahead the projects. If I had to do, for instance, project number 3, I would write down, oh, I'd like to talk about all these things. And then I read project number 4, even though I didn't have to do it. And then I got ideas. I started to write it down. So of course, by the time I got to the project, maybe the topic changed, but I had given it some thought already ahead of time, so I really got into it. So it was all Toastmasters training, and since Toastmasters allowed me to think and look back, well, I was able to look at most of my speeches are based on pop culture, right? Just saying. That's what somebody told me once. So it's my favorite soft drink, a disco song, right? They said a disco song, the Copacabana, my favorite soft drink. I'm not going to give it away. People haven't heard that speech yet. But there's suspense, right? There's suspense there. And oh, you haven't seen this one. I did a humorous speech based on Scarface. You know the movie Scarface?
Whoa. Yeah, of course.
You know, it's a Cuban immigrant that comes to America, but then gets into this drug deal. So I changed the whole thing around. So it was a humorous speech, but somebody told me that it had elements of a tall tale. So I think the next time I redo that speech, I'm really going to exaggerate certain things and make it like a true tall tale. So I turned that into the American dream. Yeah, the American dream is not to me is not getting into drug dealing and getting into becoming a gangster and weapons and that kind of thing. So I changed that part. But it was inspired by the movie to do a speech. So it's the disco song. Oh, I worked as a barista. Do you know that I worked at Starbucks for 13 months?
Oh, no.
As on a part-time on weekends. So I was dealing with the career change that I was telling you about. So what do? I did a humorous speech about learning a third language. And when people heard the title say, "Oh my God, yes, good. What language is that?" Wait till you hear the speech. So it's Starbucks language. I don't know. I think it has changed now, but in the early days, Starbucks had their own words for everything. They have Starbucks in Portuguese, right?
Yes, indeed. And Julian, we are going slowly going to finish, but however, I would have still some question. In this case, now that you mentioned that part, from your side, what is that, the American dream? How can we say, oh, we are living the American dream? What is it?
It's different. It's different for different people. Traditionally, it's buying a house, right? Buying a house and having a family, have a dog, and you live in the suburbs, right? middle class kind of thing. To me personally, because I had to make it my own, it was about pursuing what I wanted to do. So happened that I'm in America, so I had to do the American dream. Because I used to be an accountant, but like I said, I got into adult education, professional adult education, and I just told you briefly what I want to specialize in, my workshops. So to me took me a while to find that opportunity, and now that I found it, I found my path. Now I have to continue working on that path to grow. So I think that to me the American dream is because I'm still working on it, is looking for that thing that I want to do in life and to make a living out of it in this country and help others. So
okay.
I could probably write it differently, but in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Basically, that's the idea. Even if I don't get to buy a house. Because I live in an apartment. Even if I don't get to buy a house, I like to travel all over the world anyway, so I can't see myself living in the suburbs with a dog.
No, it's okay. And well,
one day I'll call it Joker.
Joker. Oh, okay. No. And Julian, just so before finishing, normally I'm having this small activity with all the guests, and I'm asking something, and you say the first thing it comes to your mind. Okay?
I've seen that in talk. Go ahead.
We don't need the details. It's just that I mentioned maybe a sentence, a word, and the first thing it's come to your mind. Okay? Okay.
Sure.
Perfect. The baby.
Me.
Toastmaster.
Great.
Empathy.
One word? Huh?
Empathy.
Empathy. We all need to give that to each other?
Forever, no, my family.
My family, my parents, my heroes, my family here and above. We're still one family.
Español.
Español. Cervantes.
Union City.
Union City, my second town, my second home.
Friends forever.
Friends forever. Yeah, friendship. I value friendship very much, and I think that if I could be a friend to someone and vice versa, that's forever.
Imagination.
Imagination has no limits.
Creativity.
Creativity. We all have it. We all have it. We all have it. We have to search. We all have a way of doing our own thing that it makes it unique to us. So creativity, it's inside of us.
Cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. Gotta have it. Cup of coffee. I didn't know I had a New York accent until I went to Boston and they started laughing at me when I say coffee. Say, how do you say it? I say coffee. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
I can't say coffee. I say coffee. Coffee. Cup of coffee.
Okay.
This is a latte, but I have espresso. It's milk, steamed milk, and espresso coffee inside.
Meditation.
Meditation and mindfulness. It helps us stay present in the moment.
Okay, and finally, I would say that presenting.
I'm sorry, presenting. Presenting.
American history. American history.
American history. Interesting history, because all the histories of our countries, of Mexico, Cuba, Poland, we all have our own history, right? And this is where I live, and this is where I like to explore my other history. So American history, fascinating.
Thank you very much, Julian, for participating for it, and well, again, thank you very much for being with us in talking today in this breakfast time for you.
Thank you for having me.
It's
breakfast time for me. It's more like lunchtime for you, no?
Yes. Almost. Actually, the food is coming soon because we ordered something, so we will see.
And I saw too. I like your recipes. I like your passion. Passion for everything you do. For cooking,
Julian,
for videos.
One question, yes. Okay, I would like you to challenge me. Tell me something that you would like me that I prepared and I can for food. Some dish that you would say, oh, I will challenge Gerardo to prepare it.
I don't know if you've done it because I haven't seen all your shows yet. I have to catch up. But mole. I'm always fascinated cooking with chocolate.
Okay. Okay.
Is that what mole is? Is that what mole is? Chocolate?
Yes. It's the sauce chocolate that is mixed that you can put it to the chicken and rice. Very
mole. And I went to Mexico, of course. I went to Mexico once. We'll talk later. But I also want to tell you about the spices. The spices in chocolate that comes from the region of Oaxaca. Is that how you pronounce it? I heard.
Yes, Oaxaca. There is a state. Yeah.
Sometimes I say Oaxaca. I'm sorry. And, there's in New York. There's this French. What do you call it when it's a dessert chef? A pastry chef, I guess. A pastry chef of name right now. So he has this coffee bar or chocolate places in New York. And it's got a hot chocolate called Wicked hot chocolate, because it has spices. It's not really that hot. It's not that hot, but Cuban food is not hot. Yeah. So I acquire the taste of Peruvian food, Mexican food in New York, and I like spicy. So I love that. chocolate with spices. Spices, yes.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I will keep it in mind.
have you done it yet?
I think I have it, but I'm not sure because I didn't use it, so I didn't know if it's expired what part of the ingredient. But I will try to manage to find out, and I will try to make it.
Okay.
One of these days, okay? I don't know when, but I will try to make it, and for sure try to share it.
How do you say chocolate?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. In Honduran, that is originally the word is from, I forgot the language, in Mexico.
Is
No what?
to be honest,
What? No what? No
now
what? Now.
Yes, from Nahuatl. But actually, I remember that we have in actually in my home city where I born, there is a place that they are cooking a lot of mole, and there is a history of mole, and there is a lot of types, green with pistachio, with all kind of moles, and but to be honest, at this moment I don't remember exactly the exact meaning of that, but now that it will be a homework.
Okay, I do. Yeah, so anyway, whether it's mole or not, do something about all things chocolate in the kitchen. You can do a series. You can do a series about that, right?
How again?
You can do several shows on chocolate because you can use it in so many different types of recipes, not just chicken.
Yes, for sure. But that would be kind of challenging. But I will try to find out the ingredients, and one of these days I will try to do it for sure.
Okay, good. So you accepted the challenge. Thank you.
Challenge accepted. Perfect, Julian. So thank you very much once again, and have a wonderful Saturday. In there, I don't know how it's in there. It's sunny. Nice to walk.
I haven't checked it. We had like spring kind of weather the last 2 days, but last night the temperature went down. Was supposed to go down, but today I haven't checked the weather forecast. I've been up since 3:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And I have to apologize to Bogdan because then I slept for an hour, and then when I woke up, Bogdan had delivered a speech already. I said, "Oh my God!"
Okay. No.
When the other concert was over, I had time to have breakfast, and now I'm sitting here with you. I'll check the weather forecast now.
But enjoy the Saturday.
Thank you for having me. Okay, it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
The same. Likewise. Thank you very much, and have a nice evening. Day. Sorry. Bye.
Bye bye.